Hey GAWDA members, what's going on? We're wishing you and yours a very happy early Thanksgiving. Today's episode is a special Thanksgiving episode of GAWDA TV. At last month's GAWDA convention in Colorado Springs, GAWDA presented its GAWDA Gives Back Award to the Children's Literacy Center. GAWDA members combined to donate more than $126,000 along with a literal truckload of children's books to the Children's Literacy Center. Joining us first to discuss the impact of that donation is Noel Wilson, Director of Education for the Children's Literacy Center. We had the opportunity to speak with Noel at this year's convention, literally minutes after the check presentation was made. Noel, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having us here. It's unbelievable.
Noel, GAWDA Gives Back donated more than $126,000 to the CLC. Can you take us inside the moment when you heard that amount and saw those books and tell us what it's going to mean for the Children's Literacy Center?
When you announced that number, a lump went straight up into my throat. I think we imagined maybe a tenth of that would come out. So there's a lot of emotion behind that number just because of the number of kids we're going to be able to serve with that.
During your speech, you discussed that because of COVID, these kids are now 9 to 12 months behind where they should be academically. Can you discuss how this donation will make a difference in helping get those kids back up to speed?
Well, with COVID, it's funny, schools actually received a lot of funds to help them get past so many things that happened during that horrible school year. The one thing that they don't have enough funding for is supplemental reading instruction. So that's what we do. We support schools, we support families through our school sites and our community sites. So $126,000 is going to help us serve a couple of hundred kids. It's unbelievable. And teachers are so stretched right now that they really need our help, but they can't afford it. So again, this number is unbelievable, and it's going to serve so many kids and families.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Children's Literacy Center and how passionate you are about this subject?
Well, you know, I started out my teaching career as a first grade teacher. So 22 years later, I am still primarily a teacher of reading. As an early grades teacher, that's in my heart. I became familiar with the Children's Literacy Center 7 years ago when I was still in the classroom, and I actually had one of their programs in my school that I ran. So from 4 to 6 o'clock, I helped run an after-school program. Part of that was dedicated to 25 of my kids that were served one-on-one twice a week after school. After having the program for even just that first half of that school year, I started to see amazing things happen with those kids. Not only in literacy, but the relationships that they were forming with their tutors, the confidence that was growing, and the risk-taking. It was all about risk-taking. And so after that school year ended, I had 28 kids who caught up or passed the reading level that they should have been at. So the impact is huge. The impact on teachers, the impact on the principals, it's just so amazing to watch. And now 7 years later, I've been on the board, I've been friends with people I now work with. It was time for me to really do something different and have that amazing impact go further.
During her presentation, Abity said that reading is the first glimpse that a child gets into the world beyond their immediate surroundings. Can you discuss the doors that being a strong reader can open for these kids and how you share that message?
Well, I spoke about one of my kids, Brandon, that I had my first year of teaching. He could have been one of those kids that ended up on the street, could have ended up in a gang. Instead, 22 years later, he's a staff sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps. Reading is power. Literacy is power. It gives kids confidence in themselves. It gives kids the ability to find out early their interests, how to connect to people, and then eventually how to serve people. So the impact down the road, 20 years from that first grade is huge.
Noel, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. To learn more about the Children's Literacy Center, including how you can continue to donate to this great cause, check out their website by clicking the link in the description below. We have a great show for you today, and it all comes right after a word from today's sponsor, Cavagna North America.
Cavagna Group's new 6000 series high-pressure regulators for cutting and welding applications offer the highest performance and longest service life in the industry. Cavagna Group, wherever gas is used, we are there.
Joining us next today is Vern Lewis Welding Supply General Manager John Bone. John, we appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
Recently, the Donovan West High School in Highland, Kansas renamed their welding center to the Vernon F. Lewis Welding Lab. Can you share with us how that project came about?
It started about 3 years ago. Vern was actually working on his estate planning, as odd as it sounds. He's from the Highland, Kansas area, and he wanted to go back and get his headstone in place at the cemetery, which, believe it or not, is incorporated with a bunch of welding tanks. So the cemetery is about a half a mile from where the school's located, and we drove back there, him and I. And after touring the cemetery, we drove to the school. The school was closed that day for bad weather, but Vern in his mid-80s had me climbing through snow piles, peeking through windows of this country school, showing me where he actually went to welding and ag classes many, many years ago. And he was so enthused about the history and excitement there. It kind of clicked in my head that maybe we could start this project and see if we could work with the school and do a donation there where he's from versus here in Arizona.
So after seeing how passionate Vern got about the school, you began to work with the school without his knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes, we actually came back. Our management team met. We discussed that maybe we wanted to go forward with the project. We actually reached out to the school, who at first thought it was a scam. They were real leery going into it. And after Stacy made a few phone calls and talked with him, Vern's grandson and myself, Jeremy, we actually flew back and had a meeting with the school board and the school. And I think they were still very pessimistic on what we wanted to do. And we worked through a lot of the logistics with quite a few of our vendors, which took a course of over a year to get on board. And we put it all together and created the Vern Lewis Welding Lab.
So once the school was convinced you were for real, I understand they gave you a wish list of items that they could use in their lab. What were some of the things they asked for that ended up going into the lab?
They gave us a list of what they wanted. It's an ag program. It's not a welding program. So they were actually a little naive of what they should have. So they gave us their wish list, and then we kind of modified it for what a welding lab should have. This is a school that had no enclosed welding booths, no fume extraction, no wire feed welders. They only did stick welding. So they gave us their list, and then we compiled with what we thought a welding department should have. So the small school in Highland, Kansas now has, I believe it's 14 welding booths total. They have a virtual Lincoln Vertex virtual welding machine. We put a Torchmate cutting table in there with the education software in it. They got fume extraction. They got all new welding gear, all new grinding apparatus, all new welding carts and torch sets, anything that a lab. We basically took their lab down to 4 concrete walls, got rid of everything, and put an entire new lab. And I think they kept 2 pieces of equipment.
That's awesome. So fast forward to October 1st, and you've done all this and Vern has no idea. Y'all fly back to Kansas. Take me inside that day where the school was dedicated to him and what that meant to him and the company.
October 1st was a really nice day, a lot of emotions on everybody's part. I was actually back at the school 1 week prior to October 1st, and to be honest, I didn't think they were going to be able to pull it off. The school was still in disarray. The lab was about halfway put together. The signage for the building for the Vernon F. Lewis Welding Lab came out of production here in Phoenix 7 days before the ribbon cutting. So I actually drove the sign back to Kansas to make sure it would get there on time. But Vern actually went back. He's from the area, so Vern and his wife drove back under the premise that they were going back for a family reunion. It's a small rural area, so they actually told him the family reunion was going to be held at the local school, so the whole family would meet there. So right up till when the ceremony started, actually 5 minutes after the ceremony started, Vern still really wasn't totally on page with what was going to happen. The event was totally for him. The community, the school, the FFA, it's beyond our expectations. The ceremony that they put on for Vern, it was a nice day for Vern Lewis. It's a man that's so selfless. It was nice to give something back that will be there for years to come.
What does it mean to have something like this that's going to live on as a legacy for Vern and his local community long beyond the time that he's going to be around?
It's nice to be able to do something outside the community. Like I said earlier, we could have done it here in Phoenix, but his name will be a legacy in the state of Arizona for many years to come. Everybody knows who Vern Lewis Welding Supply is. Highland, Kansas is a different story. Like I said, it's a very small farming community. The Lewis name is still back there. I think it's important to keep his heritage there. Every time Vern gives you the Vern Lewis story from starting in 1969 when he went into business, that story always starts with coming from Highland, Kansas. So I think it's essential to keep the history of Vern Lewis name back there. And we are partnering with the school. This wasn't a one-time commitment to where we installed some equipment and walked away. We are actually looking at doing the Vern Lewis scholarship. If somebody's going to leave that school and continue their education in welding, we would like to go years forward and offer a scholarship to that person every year, or to the highest grade for that. So the legacy isn't going to just end with a metal sign on the building and some equipment. We're partnering with the school. We required the teacher to come back here this summer and train on all the equipment that we donated. And then we also, when we were back there for the ribbon cutting ceremony, we spoke with the school, and she would like to continue to come out during the summers to continue her education with us, because we have the lab out at our Peoria store. So this legacy will go on for many years to come.
John, it's wonderful what you did for Vern and that school, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you.
To see more from the ribbon cutting, as well as a photo gallery from the event, click the link in the description below.
Want to turn over and sell supplies that are sitting in your warehouse? Add on Prism's web store to your existing website that is easy to set up at a fraction of the cost. Simple navigation like Amazon means less clicks and more dollars without having to ever pick up the phone. Customer-specific pricing, automated email alerts to keep customers coming back, and advertising complimentary products based on existing purchases will drive more sales. Don't forget, Prism also offers end-to-end welding supply software. Reach out to Andrew and Derek at Prism Visual Software.
At this year's SMC in Nashville, we had the opportunity to speak with John Austin Brewer, General Manager at Advanced Welding Industrial Supply and two-time recipient of the GAWDA Scholarship. John, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
You won the GAWDA Scholarship in 2019 and 2020. Can you share with viewers a little bit about your experience with the scholarship program and being involved with the industry?
Like I said, I started in this as a young kid. Come from a smaller outfit, family owned, kind of been in and out of it. In the summers, working as a younger kid, got the chance to apply for the scholarship in early 2019. It came before me, so I figured my family business has been members for, at that time, about 12 years, so that was about 3 years ago. So I just decided, why not? Got that together, filled out the packet, turned it in and everything, got back that I got accepted for it, so I was happy about that, of course. Really, the main reason for me getting into scholarships was from a really young age, my parents really wanted me to kind of make my own way. And of course, I didn't grow up poor, I didn't grow up rich, but they were very hesitant to just, baby me or spoil me, sure, so to say. They wanted me to earn everything that I got. I just finished my third year of college. My tuition itself, of course I got some scholarships other out of high school, but my tuition has been paid for by me. So that was a big help for sure, those 2 years, I would say. Of course my parents helped me out with groceries and things like that, but my apartment, my rent, but it definitely helped me to further my education and kind of chase a goal and a dream that I had had for a while, which was studying kinesiology, was exercise science.
So for people who might not know about the scholarship program, anybody who has a family member in the association is eligible to apply. Can you tell us about the process of applying and why you feel that people who have family members in the association should take advantage of this member benefit?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you to all the GAWDA board members for that. I mean, like I said, it was really a blessing, and it could be a blessing for a lot of people. So if you're a family member and you're a part of GAWDA, I would say take full advantage of it. I mean, it's not a terribly long, to fill out or anything. Of course, you have to fill out your basic, information, things like that. I believe I had to write an essay for it, get a couple recommendations, things like that from some teachers and professors. But for that, it's definitely worth it. The scholarship's definitely worth it. And for it to be, us to be in a family business, my family business, for that to be able to, it's out there as a benefit for me and for others, all I can say is just take advantage of it. So it's out there.
This is the first GAWDA event you've attended. Can you discuss your experience so far?
I've got to meet some people here that, have been a part of my family business for a long time, and some of them even family businesses for generations. And, if I do decide, who knows, if I do decide to stay in this industry and not pursue other things, and it's nice to know you have somewhere to start, having connections and things like that. So it's been great so far.
What is it about this industry that you feel keeps people around and makes it a career rather than just another job?
I think the camaraderie that it brings. This is an industry that, say if you, went into personal sales, or you went to do stocks or something like that, or something that's more of a individual business, it's kind of all on you. In this industry, you can't make it without a team. So I think just that in itself, you need each other. If I had somebody used to tell me all the time that if your right hand doesn't know what your left hand's doing, then you're lost. So it's kind of everybody has each other's back, and you have to know what's going on, and you kind of find what you do best individually, and once that's sorted out, you can come together as a team and you can make really the best of what everybody can do. So you just come out on top when you, play together as a team. So,
John, thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. My pleasure.
To learn more about GAWDA Scholarship Program and how you can apply, click the link in the description below. Today's member news segment is brought to you by Anthony Welded Products, 4 generations strong since 1958. Hahn Welding Supply announced that it is passing the torch to its 4th generation of leadership as Josh and Eric Hahn were named co-presidents of the company. Noble Gas Solutions also announced a new president as GAWDA board member Colleen Kohler was named president of the company. Nexair announced that it has opened a new 25,000 square foot location in Miami, Florida that will serve as its Florida centralized warehouse. Meredith Gas Partners announced that it had partnered with Volunteer Welding Supply Inc. in Nashville, Tennessee. Co-owners and brothers David and John Mark McMurtry will continue to lead the business while maintaining a significant equity ownership in Meredith. Nick Brown was promoted to vice president at Red Ball Oxygen. Espergas announced 4 additions to its board of directors. The new members are Jim Balcom, David Cortez, Henry Hank Flint, and Brian Hamill. Central McGowan acquired Prefer Welding Sales. Awisco held its annual Automation Expo Day at its Maspeth location. Click the link in the description below to see photos from the event. The New Hampshire Tech Alliance named Hypertherm's PowerMax Sink as a Product of the Year finalist. Praxair Distribution Inc. officially changed its name to Linde Gas and Equipment. Alex Calvin was named Vice President of Sales for North America at ES Tech Group. CGA President and CEO Rich Gottwald and Board of Directors Chair Chris Ebeling met with White House representatives on October 26 to express concerns about the unintended consequences of the proposed OSHA ETS requiring all employees with 100 or more employees to ensure their workforce is vaccinated against COVID-19 or to provide a weekly negative test if unvaccinated. GAWDA officially kicked off its membership renewal drive. To renew your GAWDA membership, click the link in the description below. As you renew your membership, please know that your dues are key to the association's success. Finally, GAWDA Media introduced its new supplier catalog library. The library is a great resource for welding supply and gas distributors to see digital catalogs from GAWDA suppliers all in one spot. To see the full catalog library, click the link in the description below. To read more about each of these member news items, or to submit member news, be sure to read the complete November 15th issue of the GAWDA Connection in your email inbox today, or by clicking the link in the description below.
Introducing the newest product launch from Anthony Welded Products, it's the 3-in-1 cart. Now customers can have the best of all worlds with a fast-action cylinder placement band, zinc-plated safety chain, and load and roll front caster feature with removable front wheels. Available and ready to ship. Small, medium, and large size carts are available. For more information, click Anthony Welded Products link in the video description below.
Finally, we're joined today by Ned Pontious, President of Absolute Air. Ned, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Ned, can you discuss the founding of Absolute Air and how the idea to form the consortium came together?
Sure, yeah. So many years ago, several distributors got together in the upper Midwest and decided they should pool their money together to build an air separation plant. And so they went forward and they got some financial reporting done and some analysis and decided that they might have a viable project. Well, then shortly after I took a little break from my old job, they contacted me and asked me if I'd be willing to look at the project and see if it was worth its salt and whether it was worth proceeding with, and I thought it was. So at that point, that was mid-2018, we formed Absolute Air LLC, which is a combination of 5 companies, AOX out of Sioux Falls, Minneapolis Oxygen out of Minneapolis, Toll Company out of Minneapolis, and Mississippi Welders out of Winona, and then of course the Huber Group, Huber Welding out in Mason City, Iowa. So those 5 guys are the owners of Absolute Air, and I'm the president of Absolute Air, kind of tasked with building the plant.
What is the vision for the company, and how do you feel that it's going to be a disruptor in the industry?
Well, the vision is very similar to the vision of Norco, my old company. We wanted to become independent. For many years, obviously, we bought our own gases, all of our gases from the major suppliers, and that was served us very well. And all those, I've got a ton of respect for all those suppliers. But at a certain point, people want to kind of be independent and produce their own product, and that's what these 5 distributors really want to be, is independent and have their own supply of oxygen, nitrogen, and argon.
How will Absolute Air be unique in the air separation world?
Well, they're unique because very few people run their own plants in the United States. You'll see this happening in other parts of Europe, where an independent will build their own air separation plants, but it's really kind of been non-existent in the United States up until Norco put our first plant in 2002 and then our second plant in 2009. So here we are now in 2021. Will be a unique, independently owned and operated air separation plant.
When do you anticipate the air separation plant being online and beginning to ship?
Yeah, so the plan right now, we are slightly behind schedule. We've been caught with obviously the COVID issues, which slowed us down a little bit. We got caught with some banking issues, which slowed us down a little bit. And now, of course, the flavor of the day is supply chain issues. We've had some equipment that's been delayed because of that. Fortunately, we ordered all of the big equipment prior to COVID, so the tanks, compressors, holding vessels, etc. So, but again, the piping and all that is subject to availability of steel and all that, so we've got some challenges there. So based on all that and our schedule, we're going to be up probably the first quarter of 2022, coming up here in the next few months.
Is there anything else about the project that you want to share with viewers?
No, we're just really excited to have it up and running, and running trucks across the scales and filling them and taking care of our customers. And hopefully at that time we can come out to the industry and invite the industry out to our site to take a look at our plan.
Ned, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all so much for tuning in today. We have so much to be thankful for this year, and we want to extend our thanks and gratitude for the great members that have made GAWDA such a strong organization for more than 75 years. We also want to thank our advertisers and viewers like you who make GAWDA TV and the other GAWDA media projects possible. From all of us here at GAWDA TV, we want to wish you and your family a safe and happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next time.